Hello, happy holidays and happy new year. This has been a really busy year, a really fast year, but also a really slow year. So many parts of this year, for me at least, have felt like they were both yesterday and a million years ago. In this video, I'm just gonna share some of my favorite things, media that I consumed, a couple things that I got really into this year, and some places that I traveled to. There will be a couple timestamps in the description of this video. If you're on a computer, you can kind of scroll along the preview bar and that'll let you go to the specific timestamps you want. On television, I don't know how you'll do it, but on mobile, you can just see the timestamps in the description. The main timestamps you can jump to of things that I enjoyed this year are going to be books, TV, movies, anime, video games, and then just some like last little things that don't really fit in any category, but just like I was really into them and I wanted to share those things with you. And hey, while you're down there, why not hit that like button? Why not subscribe? I'm trying to limit myself to 5 at max for each category just because there's so many things I would want to talk about, but the video can't be a million years long. First thing I want to talk about, my favorite thing, books. I read a lot this year. I think my Goodreads says I'm at like 100 and something.
Huh?
Yeah, Goodreads says I read 139 books this year. A lot of different books. A lot of different kinds. Many were short, many were long. I read a lot of manga. These are my 5 favorite things I read this year. In no particular order. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This book was phenomenal. I think I read it on, I was flying somewhere. Maybe I want to say I was on the plane flying to somewhere, and I remember reading this book that as I reached the end of it, I just started weeping publicly on this plane. It's just such a great book. I had the wonderful privilege of meeting Gabrielle Zevin at like a Q&A in conversation here in Toronto. She made the statement that she kind of wrote this book thinking of it not only as a coming of age of people, but also the coming of age of an industry. It is very focused on the development of video games. The 3 main characters are video game developers, but I don't think you just need to be into video games to enjoy this book. It explores relationships and human emotion and just the dynamics of what it means to love and to create and to let go and to just like, oh, it was so good. It was so good. I also read The Sword of Kaigen by ML Wang. This is a book I picked up because Book Talk was obsessively recommending this to me in recommendation videos from creators that I follow, but also in my For You page from people I've never even seen before until they scroll through into my reality. It was fantastic. I feel like even the smallest summarization of what happens in this book can spoil so much. You want to go into this as blind as possible. You want to go into this knowing as little as possible. Viola Davis, Finding Me. I love reading biographies from actors. I love reading biographies and stories from artists and creators. Viola Davis's Finding Me is a wonderful, wonderful book. It was recommended to me by a bunch of friends, by a bunch of family. Viola Davis is vulnerable and open and honest and really transparent, not only with her trajectory as an actor and as an artist, with what shaped her career, but also with what shaped her as a person. Seeing the journey she went on to the level of success and acceptance and self-love she has for herself by the end of this book, now that she's way into her adulthood, it gave a lot of comfort to me of that like things will be okay. Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn, especially the Mistborn trilogy, this is the year I got into Sanderson. This is the year I finally got into Sanderson because of a bunch of friends recommending it to me, and again, Book Talk recommending it to me obsessively. I was like, I'll read it over the course of a couple weeks. I read it over the course of like 2 days. It's like 600-700 pages. I could not put it down. The moment I finished this, I went out and I grabbed the 2nd and the 3rd, and I finished both of those in a week. Sanderson's writing is phenomenal. I think he's one of my favorite writers right now, especially fantasy writers. Him and ML Wang are right there alongside each other for me. Have recommended this book to so many of my friends and family, and everyone I've recommended it to that has picked it up and started reading it has also finished it in under a week. If you have not read Mistborn, read it. The Courage to be Disliked. This is a recent read. I only actually finished this about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. No, I only finished this about a week ago, and it has changed the way I think about so much. It's really, really interesting and really cool the way it's written and structured. It's like a self-help, philosophical, psychological book, but rather than having someone talk at you and introduce concepts, it's like you're reading a script. You're reading a dialogue between 2 characters. It has already begun to reshape the way I view myself and the way I view the relationships in my life around me. Really, really good. And then honorable mention, I just got a Ultimate Spider-Man. I have not bought single issue comics since I was like 18. It's been almost 10 years since I was buying single issue comics. I have not really been reading superhero stories and comics since I was like maybe 22. It's been years since I've like picked up a comic book and read voraciously. I have been obsessed with the new Ultimate Spider-Man. I loved the original Ultimate Spider-Man. It's what got me into comic books. And I really believe Jonathan Hickman and the rest of the team behind Ultimate Spider-Man, and especially the new Ultimate Universe, they're cooking. Oh, they're doing such brilliant things. Oh, it's so great. If you have been feeling a lot of Marvel fatigue the last few years, but you've been missing on feeling satisfied and enjoying great storytelling with Marvel characters, Ultimate Spider-Man, the new Ultimate Universe, honorable mention. Next, movies. I watched a lot of movies, but I'm only going to talk about 5 again. Some movies I really enjoyed. I really love Switch. This was a Korean comedy I watched while flying, I think when I was flying home from the Philippines back in January. I watched this on the airplane. We flew with Korean Air, and so many of the movies on the like on-flight entertainment were Korean films. I don't know about you, but I don't have super easy access to international films just on demand. And in this instance, I had really easy access to Korean cinema, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just watch some Korean movies. I watched a lot of Korean films while flying to and from the Philippines, and Switch was a comedy I watched that was really, really funny. It was really, really sweet. I also went to TIFF this year in Toronto. I went with a bunch of friends, did some TIFF by myself. I saw some really great movies. I saw The Wild Robot. Oh my goodness gracious me. One of my favorite things I saw this year, hands down. One of my favorite things I saw at TIFF, hands down. Beautifully animated, beautiful storytelling. And there was a talk back afterwards with the director Chris Sanders. I didn't realize that he has directed some of my favorite movies of all times. That apparently this man is my favorite director in the world, and I just didn't know it. Lilo and Stitch, How to Train Your Dragon, The Wild Robot. This guy does not miss. He is a wonderful animated movie director. And I just want to say, Chris Sanders, thank you for making the things you make. I love the art that you create. Please create more art. Thank you. Another phenomenal film I saw at TIFF, and this was my #1 at TIFF this year, A Missing Part. It is a French film from a Belgian director shot in Tokyo about a man who has not been allowed to see his daughter for 13 years. And the week he finally decides to move from Tokyo back to France, a girl gets into the back of the taxi car he drives and changes his whole life forever. It's really good. I was weeping by the end of that film. It explores human connection, human experience, love, relationships. It just was so good. It was so good. Oh my goodness, I love it. I wish I had a way to watch it. Get me, hey, if anyone needs a Christmas gift for me or a birthday gift for me next year, get me like a physical copy of A Missing Part. That's all I want. That's all I want. And then, hold on, we gotta change the lights. We got Siri, set the lights in the office to green. Wicked. Oh my goodness gracious me. I've never seen Wicked, the musical. I'm a bad theater kid, I guess. I never got on the Wicked train. I've never really known why people were obsessed with it. I only ever really knew the song Popular and the riff of Defying Gravity at the end. And then I saw part 1, and it was so good. Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, John M. Chu. This team has done a phenomenal job, and I am so excited for the second half. I'm so excited for part 2. If you have not seen Wicked, please go see Wicked. Even if you're not like big into musicals, I think there's something everyone can enjoy. And then the last movie I'll mention from this year that I watched for the first time, Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I've been getting really into D&D again this year. I started playing a new campaign with some friends, and so I was like, hey, I'm homesick. Why don't I just put on Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, the Chris Pine movie. Everyone said it was really funny, and they're right. It's really funny. It's just silly fun times. If you like D&D, if you like Chris Pine or any of the other actors that are in the movie, and you just want to have fun for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, it's so enjoyable. It's so silly goofy, but also like well written and well acted. I definitely recommend. TV.
Ready?
Specifically, the TV shows that I'm going to list off as like things I saw this year are TV shows I actually finished. There are a bunch of shows that I started that I didn't finish because they were really bad, or because I just was watching so much I never got around to finishing it. First show I'm going to mention, Doctor Who. Churigawa's first season. Churigawa is so great. I love him as the Doctor. Doctor Who, the first season was great. Some of Russell T Davis's writing is a bit cliche and cheesy, but it's like not I hate it cheesy. It's like, that was cheesy, kind of cheesy. Does that make sense? Arcane season 2, so good. I liked Arcane season 1 more for its pacing and storytelling, and I think one thing that would have made Arcane season 2 a lot better is if they had had a couple more episodes. I don't know if it was a creative decision or if it was like a producer decision, but I think condensing the episodes as much as they did wasn't my favorite part. The last episode, there's a plot line with Echo and there's a plot line with Jinx. I don't feel those plot lines were explored as much as I wanted them to. I wish they had had at least 20 to 30 more minutes, or even like a full other episode to really explore that plot thread just a little bit more. I'm pretty sure I watched the entirety of The Bear this year. I think I watched all of season 1 and 2 back to back, and then season 3 came out a couple of months later, and I watched it, and The Bear is my favorite television show now of all time. It is so good. I love The Bear. I have loved every single season. I don't know if I have a favorite season. I think I have favorite episodes from each season. Every season, I think every season has been a hit. I don't think they've had a single miss. Every time they swing, they knock it out of the park for me. Thank you. Thank you to that whole team. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful television. Thank you. X-Men 97 came out this year. I had a lot of Marvel fatigue going into 24, and then X-Men 97 came out, and I was like, oh, this is good. Oh, this is why I like these characters. This is why I like Marvel. X-Men 97 reignited a lot of my interest in watching Marvel television and movies again. Not everything that has come out before or after that I've been watching has been as good, I will acknowledge and will say, but X-Men 97, that was really good. That was some great TV. I miss TV where you sit down and you watch for 20, 30, 40 minutes and you're like, haha, that's a self-contained story. I can't wait to see these characters next episode to see what new story they get up to. Why is everything just a 10-hour movie now? Stop making 10-hour movies. Make serialized television again, please. Please. And then last thing I'll say that I watched, that like I finished, that I really want to praise. It's a Baymax TV show. It's like 6 episodes. Each one's like 8 minutes. I think it came out in 22. It's just cute, silly Baymax fun. If you like Baymax, Big Hero 6, they're just like really silly, cute episodes. Just like feel good. Put them on. You can watch them all back to back. They're 6 minutes each, 6 episodes. It's a great time. Honorable mention, a television show I watched a lot of this year, but I did not finish. Bob's Burgers. Great television. I love Bob's Burgers. I watched a lot of anime this year. Again, anime I'm going to mention are ones that I finished, start to finish, completed a full season of at least. Skullface Bookseller Honda-san is one of the funniest animes, maybe one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. Really, really great. Really, really funny, really, really feel good. I don't think you need to be really into books to enjoy it. I think you just need to have worked retail at some point. If you've worked retail at some point and you watch this, you're going to identify with so many of the ridiculous things that happen. They're not absurd because it's television. They're absurd because they're retail. If you've never worked retail, just know that sometimes the circumstances you get put into are so absurdly ridiculous and people are just so people. Blue Lock season 1. Oh my god, Blue Lock was so good. It was so gay. And it was so good. I don't know what season 2 is like yet. I haven't started that yet. I've seen a few memes on the internet making fun of it. So I'm a little nervous to start season 2, but I really like season 1. It was really, really great. First couple episodes, I was like, this is really weird, Chandler, why are we watching this? But then it got good. And then it got really good. Frieren Beyond Journey's End was like my sleeper anime of the year. I was putting it off. I was very slowly watching it with a friend. We were like, I guess it's good, but it's not really what I want to watch. It's too slow. And then I think around episode 5 or 6, my friend Michael, he was like, I'm gonna drop it. You can keep watching it without me if you want to. So I did. I think he dropped like 1 episode too soon. Episode 6, episode 7, that's what hooked me. That's when I was like, oh my goodness, this might be one of the greatest animes ever. Went from just like watching 1 episode every few weeks to binging the entire series from like episode 7 to episode 23 or 24 in a week. It was so good. I love the storytelling. I love the characters. I love the themes around relationships that it explores. And it's just in a great fantasy world. Really recommend Frieren Beyond Journey's End. I think I'm gonna pick up the manga and read it. Oshinoko Season 2 came out this year. I really love Oshinoko, not necessarily because I think it's the best anime ever, but because I really enjoy the way it explores and talks about the arts and performance industries. As an actor, both in theater and in film and television, I just really enjoy seeing how people live and work in those environments. I love watching documentaries about behind the scenes of films. I love watching behind the scenes vlogs of theaters on YouTube. It's cool to kind of have that scene behind the scenes experience that I get from watching documentaries and vlogs in an anime. It is different from my own experience and understanding of the performance industry because it's from a Japanese lens, and it's cool. I really, really like it. And then last one I'll mention from this year, Solo Leveling. I wasn't really watching anime much for a couple months this year, and then my buddy Chandler got me on Solo Leveling. I binged it in like a week, and it got me back onto watching anime this year. It's visually just really well animated, some great action sequences, a really fun action anime. I recommend it. Video games, I played a lot of video games this year. I didn't really play a lot of new games this year. A lot of the games that I played this year were from my backlog. I didn't really play very many new games. I didn't really buy a lot of games this year. My top 5 that I finished are as follows in no particular order. Flynn, Son of Crimson. I streamed this on Twitch. This is an indie game that I backed on Kickstarter years ago. I finally got around to playing it, and I really, really loved it. Sometimes combat is my least favorite part about playing video games, and I really loved Flynn, Son of Crimson because even though it's a side-scroller action platformer, the combat wasn't really intense. It was pretty cozy. It was pretty casual. It was pretty easy to like fight and defeat enemies. You could do button mashing and still get through a level, which I like. I like that it had a phenomenal soundtrack. I love that it had beautiful pixel art and visuals and just really bright colors. It was such a fun, satisfying, cozy game to play. This is definitely a great cozy game people should check out. It is not a very intense action platformer. It is a very casual, comforting one, and I really enjoyed it. Speaking of cozy, another really cozy, casual game to play that was very comforting, Abzu. I played this for the first time this year, another indie gem. Abzu was streamed on Twitch. I think it only took me about a stream or two to complete it. It's a very short game, but the soundtrack is phenomenal. The sound effects, the atmosphere it establishes. Oh, like I feel a wave of just like flow over me even as I try to talk about it and as I recall playing this game. Abzu was really, really fun. I played A Way Out. This is another 2-player split screen from Hazelight Studios, the team that made It Takes Two. They made this before It Takes Two, and it was so much fun. I played this on stream on Fletchified with my best friend Chandler. I love the way that Hazelight Studios makes 2-player games. I love the way it seamlessly requires one person to take over, one person to follow, that you can't do something unless the other person does it. I love that. I love that you actually have to play with someone to play the game, that it's not just you playing alongside someone. I think because of who I played it with, because I played it with my best friend, I think that made the game even more enjoyable. I am so excited for Hazelight Studios' next game coming out. I think this March is when the new one comes out, the like fantasy science fiction game. Name on screen because I forget the name of it. I played a lot of indie games. Unpacking, another gem of an indie game. I meant to only play this for 2 hours on stream and then accidentally streamed for 6 hours straight because I could not put the game down. I love when things have their own place. There's a lot going on here, but everything has a specific place for it to exist. Unpacking just does that. It gives me that same feeling. It's just good. It's just good. If you love when something just goes like that. You know what I mean when I say like just hearing that makes you go. Last game I'll mention is Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. This is my like original copy I got from EB Games, not GameStop, EB Games when I was like 11. I have been playing this game on and off my entire life. I've never actually sat down and beat it. And then in 2021, I started a new save file and I have been committing to that save file for the last 3 years, and I finally beat it. I know what you're gonna say. What the hell, Bryce? It's like a 40, 50 hour game. How did it take you 3 years to beat it? I got distracted and busy, okay? Life was busy. This was the kind of game where I'd boot it up after work every few weeks and I would just play for like 2-3 hours at night and then get back to it when I could. It was very satisfying to finally beat it. I love this game. A couple honorable mentions of games that I played a lot this year but I did not complete. I've been really into the Pokemon kick. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Violet. I've played a lot of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. I actually grabbed this copy when we were in the Philippines, so I think this is technically the like Middle Eastern and South Asian version of the game, which is really fun. Like looking at the back of it, like this is the North American Pokemon, the Canadian Pokemon, and like it just seeing the backs of the games is cool to see like how the packaging is slightly different depending on where you bought it in the world. As you can see, I've been really on my Pokemon kick this year, and then I played a lot of Marvel Rivals. I know the game only came out like a few weeks ago, but I've been playing so much Marvel Rivals. I know, a little hypocritical for me to say that one of my favorite things I played this year is Marvel Rivals, when like earlier I was like, I hate combat in video games. Shut up. I spent more money than I probably should have on books this year, but other than that, I didn't really buy any like new tech. I didn't really like buy any like really big purchases. I think a lot of the money I spent this year was on traveling. I went up to the Northwest Territories. I was on the Arctic Ocean in Tuktoyaktuk. I went to the Philippines for the first time this year. We went to Vancouver in September, and I was out in Halifax in May. And so with me going to Tuktoyaktuk in April, Halifax in May, and then Vancouver in August, September, I took a photo of myself touching the ocean on all three sides of Canada that are not connected to another body of land. The southern border of Canada is connected to the States, but the north, the east, and the west are all coastal. Like that's where the coast meets the land, the Arctic Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean. I got to touch all three coastlines of Canada this year, which was a really cool thing to be able to say I did. And I'm really grateful for how much I got to travel this year, both for pleasure and for work. I think this year I really solidified being very into fun sweaters, like pullover jumpers like this. But also like I've come to really love like fun cardigans, like really fun cardigans. I got this at Fan Expo this year. Sweater vests as well. I've come to really love sweater vests. I got this really awesome Apple sweater vest when we were in the Philippines. I thrifted this really fun like button-up sweater vest from the thrift store a couple of months back. I've come to really enjoy like pocket tees. Like I got this at TIFF this year. Also started putting pins on my denim jackets. I've never really been like a pin person. I tried to get into patches a couple of years back, but I've like really enjoyed just like I've put a couple of little pins. Actually, I got this jacket from my older roommate. He left it behind. He was like, here, you can have it. And I was like, thanks. And it's my new favorite jacket. I also have gotten really into Lorcana, really into Lorcana. I was at the cottage this past August with some friends, and my one friend who plays a lot of Lorcana was like, hey, do you guys want to check out this game? We like really got into it. Like I've put a lot of time and more money than I care to admit into Lorcana. I have even started posting on, just for fun sometimes on TikTok, unboxing or card opening videos on TikTok, but I'm having a lot of fun. There's a couple game shops actually here in the city I go to every so often, and I'll play like Lorcana nights against other people. And I want to say like the only like techie thing I bought this year is I got myself a Minolta Himatic E. Just like a really easy point and shoot film camera when we were in the Philippines. Someone on Facebook Marketplace was just around the corner from where we went to dinner one night. And it's great. I used it to shoot a roll of film when we were in Manila. That's everything I wanted to share. Some favorite things I enjoyed from 2024. It's a lot of different things. I enjoy lots of different stuff. If we have any of the same favorites, let me know down below. Maybe you can share some of your favorite like books or games that you played or read this year. I don't know if I've really set any like goals for the new year yet. I know like the last couple of years I've had like little like fun projects I've given myself every month. I did a roll of film every month in 2023. In 2024 I tried to see how many books I could read every month, and I made little videos of me like sharing the books that I read that month. I don't think I'm going to try that again. I think I want to give myself some new like fun little creative monthly project, but I haven't figured out what that's going to be yet. I think it'd be nice to maybe work out a bit more. I want to travel some more. I'd love to book maybe a television show, not even like a series regular, like even just like a day player would be fun. A couple day player roles would be fun. Yeah, who knows what 2025 is gonna bring. I still have some videos from 2024 that I'm editing that should hopefully come out, like the rest of the Philippines videos. And thank you so much to anyone who's made it through the video this far, who's watched any of my other videos, who's checked out any of my streams on Twitch. I really appreciate you. I'm really grateful for you. Thank you so much for sticking around and hanging out this past year. I hope you had a wonderful 24. I hope you have a wonderful 25. I'm gonna wrap up the video there. I've been talking more than enough. goodbye, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is for you as you're watching this. I'll see you later.